wife is feeling better. What's up, YouTube? Good morning. Thanks for being here. What's up, Joe? How are you, buddy? Gloomy Goblin, Teen Hug. How is everybody? Howdy, howdy. Lord Voldemort, how are you? Oh, wait, shit. You're the name who must never be mentioned. I mentioned the name. Hey, what are you going to do? It's Thursday, and I'm still waking up. You know the drill. She's doing very well today. I'm very glad to hear that. I'm very, very glad to hear that. All right. For voting third party, good morning. Good to see you. We already got some articles from you guys, which is groovy. All right, let's see here. Let me hop over to the Reddit as well. Oh man, and we already got 20. My son and I are watching Harry Potter this weekend. That's pretty cool. What's up, Long Beach? How are you? Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron. Let me go grab my guitar, guys, because we are close to 30 people over on the Live Me stream, which means it's time for the theme song. Pasta's awake. I wasn't sure if he was going to make it this morning, but he's awake. He's monitoring the YouTube chats. And life is good, everybody. We'll get started here in just a few minutes. I got to grab the guitar. We are 5 people away over on the Live Me. What's up, DC? How are you? Jennifer, good morning. And Lucy says meow. She says good morning too. Cody, what's up, my man? Do I know Lake of Fire by the Meat Puppets? Of course I do. And I got to see the Meat Puppets live a couple months ago here in Los Angeles. They did a free show outside in downtown LA with X. It was really cool. And I got to hear them do Lake of Fire. And of course, I love the cover that Nirvana does. Guys, we're there. Get your news on with Ron. Just want to know what's going on. We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Just want to know what's going on. We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. Go through it together. We'll make it our own. Get your news on with Ron. Just want to know what's going on. Get our news on today. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean for anybody that's new? That means you guys send me articles via Twitter or via our Reddit account. You can tweet them at me at Ron Placone. That's the best and quickest way to get stuff to me. At Ron Placone on Twitter. Or you can go to our Reddit subsection. It's just reddit.com/r/getyournewsonwithron. Nirvana's Unplugged was simply sublime, especially that song. I agree. Yeah, it was a fantastic. I mean, the fact that they opened with About a Girl was so badass. And just the way they pieced it all together, and Kirkwood and the other Meat Puppets members being part of it, Pat Smear, it was just a beautiful, perfectly executed performance and evening. God, wish I could have been there, right? Lucy wishes she could have been there too. She's like, I wasn't even alive. I wasn't even alive for it. All right, you went out. All right. You didn't finish your breakfast. But here, you can go out. All right, guys. Good morning. I hope everybody... Dude, I'm driving through Valencia right now. Kimmy says. You are in the area, Kimmy. at least compared to where you're usually at. Valencia's still a long way from where I'm at in SoCal. But, you know, what's up, Olivio? So, guys, let's start at the beginning. We're going to go through the facts Bill O'Reilly style, all right? You guys ready? So, am I hungover? Yes, slightly. Did I have a nice Valentine's Day? Yes, I did. Do I hope to have nice Valentine's Days in the future? Yes, I do. But I had a great Valentine's Day. I'm a little hungover. Not bad, but a little bit. And we had a good one. Me and my girlfriend. Am I single? I am not. Me and my girlfriend actually had a this is our second Valentine's Day together. We've been together for a year, and this was our second Valentine's Day, and we had a fun time. And yeah, and how long have I been broadcasting, you asked? I've been here on Live Me for about I think 8 months now. I've been doing the thing on the Live Me thing. So yeah. How was everyone else's Valentine's Day? If you want to share yours real quick, shout it at me. Let me get over to the YouTube real quick here. Natural Progressive, I was just on a local radio show commenting on Trump's speech. They could not get me off the air soon enough. Talk down to me. I'm in Utah. So did you call in? Cody had his first Valentine with a date. Yeah, buddy. How'd it go? Did you bring up politics right away to scare her off? No, I'm just kidding. Mine was okay. I watched Jim and Andy. That's cool. Are you going to talk about politics again? Yeah, probably. I think that's what we do here. Let's see. JK, enjoyed your videos with Graham Elwood. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ooh, ladies, Ron counts Valentine's Day. He's taken. Yeah, I'm a taken guy. Had a good Valentine's Day. Cooked. Didn't go out. Did a little cooking. And it was a good time. All right. So let's jump into it. Are the videos with Graham Elwood up? Yeah, I believe so. At least one of them is. Because somebody is saying that they saw it. JK is saying that they saw it. And I know one of them was tweeted at me. So at least one of the videos I did with Graham yesterday is up now. Where we mentioned some tour dates we got coming up. March 15th here in Los Angeles, May 9th in Tempe, Arizona, May 10th in Lake Havasu, Arizona, and May 11th, we should be in San Diego, California. All right, let's get to some articles. Not sure if this is how we do it. This is from Jim. U.S. intelligence shuts down damning report on whistleblower retaliation. That's not surprising. The nation's top intelligence watchdog put the brakes on a report last year that uncovered whistleblower reprisal issues with America's spy agency. The Daily Beast has learned. This is from the Daily Beast. The move concealed a finding that the agencies, including the CIA and the NSA, were failing to protect intelligence workers who report waste, fraud, abuse, or criminality up the chain of command. The investigators looked into 190 cases of alleged reprisal in 6 agencies and uncovered a shocking pattern. In only one case out of the 190 did the agencies find in favor of the whistleblower, and that case took 742 days to complete. Other cases remained open longer. And it's not like this is like huge Edward Snowden level whistleblower. This is just like they're reporting waste or fraud or abuse. Like they're reporting something that's on a smaller level, but still important to be reported. And they're just condemning all these people. It's basically like, we're an intelligence agency. We're going to do whatever the hell we want. And if you go against that, well, then you've just made another enemy. That's pretty much. Stone shut down the whistleblowing inspection just days after taking it over for Charles McCullough III, who'd served as the Intelligence Community Inspector General from the day the office was founded in 2010 until his retirement in March from last year. Here's a quote. The affair casts serious doubt on intelligence agencies' fundamental pact with the rank and file that workers who properly report perceived wrongdoing through approved channels won't lose their job. Not surprising. I mean, is anyone surprised by this? Like, what do you think they give a gold star to people that report anything? Thanks, man. Coffee time. So thank you for sharing that, Jim. It's definitely interesting that even at the lower level, even at just the basic level, they are never on the side of the whistleblowers. They are the agency, they are the power. If you go against that power, you're in trouble. You better just shut up and do what you're told. But we're supposed to love them now, right? We're supposed to love them because they don't like Trump. Remember, the intelligence agencies don't like Trump. I did retweet that. White House threatens veto of Senate immigration compromise. This is from Forever Voting Third Party. White House threatens veto of Senate immigration compromise. President Donald Trump would veto a bipartisan Senate compromise that would help young dreamer immigrants and build his coveted border wall, the White House threatened on Thursday, fueling doubts that any immigration measures would survive showdown votes. In a written statement, the White House labeled the proposal dangerous policy that will harm the nation. It singled out a provision that directs the government to prioritize enforcement efforts against immigrants who arrive illegally beginning in July. Senate leaders were hoping to hold votes Thursday on Trump's immigration proposals, that's today, along with the bipartisan compromise and two other measures. Bipartisan compromise, by the way, means that Trump gets everything he wants. The Republicans get everything they want. And in return, we get DACA, which never should have gotten to this point. Never should have gotten to this point. It should have been a no-brainer. 90% of citizens want it. 90% of citizens want DACA. And what do the Republicans do? They say no. What do the Democrats do? They cave time and time again. Time and time again, they cave. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said Trump has stood in the way of every single proposal that has had a chance of becoming law. He added the American people will blame President Trump and no one else for the failure to protect dreamers. No, I blame everybody. I blame Trump and everybody else. Don't be fooled and think that the Democrats don't have their blame here. They do. They do. Because they had everything in their power to do something about it, and they didn't. They caved time and time again, and we've been doing video after video about it. And now it's gotten to the point where the White House is just going to say, you know what, we're not going to approve it anyway. Now, if they could have somehow stood up for this at the beginning, if they would have not budged at the beginning and forced Trump's hand at the beginning, then they really would have had leverage against Donald Trump because it would have made him look awful. But now more time has passed. They can blame what's going on with the bipartisan bill. And people are going to blame everybody, which is A, accurate, and B, lets Trump dodge more of a bullet. Colin Barber asked me where I got my mug. I don't know. It's a Kurt Vonnegut mug. It was a gift to me. But thank you very much. I like it. What's up, I Got Bars? Good to see you, buddy. The bipartisan compromise was announced Wednesday by 16 senators with centrist views on the issue and was winning support from many Democrats, but it faced an uncertain fate. Besides opposition by the administration and leading Republicans, the bipartisan plan prompted qualms among Democrats. The party's number 2 Senate leader, Dick Durbin, said some Democrats had serious issues with parts of the plan. So far, neither Trump's plan or the bipartisan measure seem to have support from 60 senators, the number that will be needed to prevail. The bipartisan measure's sponsor included 8 GOP senators. That meant only 3 more Republicans will be needed. The centrist proposal was produced by a group led by Senator Susan Collins of Maine and Joe Manchin of West Virginia. Oh, well, gee, if that group's attached to it, this has got to be good. That spent weeks seeking middle ground. Besides its path to citizenship and border security money, it would bar dreamers from sponsoring their parents for citizenship, far narrower than Trump's proposal to prevent all illegal immigrants from bringing parents and siblings to the U.S. So it doesn't matter what the public wants. What the public wants, be damned. The only thing that matters is that Republicans and Democrats are, quote unquote, working together. Instead of going to the people, which Democrats could have done out the gate, Democrats could have went to the people out the gate and said 90% of people want this, and the White House is not budging for the Dreamers. And they could have pinned this on the White House. They could have forced the White House's hand, and it would have been a train wreck for the White House. Instead, they caved time and time again, promising that they would talk about it at a later date. Now they're trying this bullshit bipartisan solution that doesn't give full DACA anyway. And it's a, quote, centrist proposal. And now the White House is just going to say, well, fuck you. We're shooting it down. You came to the table. You negotiated. We're going to say that you didn't negotiate well. And sorry. Forever Voting, third party points out it's offense and defense. It's one team. So I have a feeling that we're not going to get. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to unfold because I don't see them writing off DACA completely because it would be a really bad move politically. But I mean, I don't see them just giving it up either. Because there's been no. I mean, the Democrats have not been holding them accountable at all. It's pretty ridiculous. It is pretty ridiculous. All right. Let's move on to something else. Manhattan, this is from D.C. A Manhattan judge declares marijuana saves lives after hearing from users. Wow. All right. I'm going to try that one again. Judge declares marijuana saves lives after hearing from users who wanted Schedule 1 status tossed. For anybody that doesn't know what that means exactly, pot, for a very, very long time now, has been declared a Schedule 1 drug by the DEA. That means it has no redeeming qualities and is just as bad for you as heroin. That's essentially what that means. Clearly, that's not true. Like, that's just straight up not true. Like, that's false. And there are tons of benefits for medicinal pot and stuff like that. There's no evidence it's physically addicting, et cetera, et cetera. You guys know all that. But nonetheless, the DEA has not budged on that Schedule 1 designation. So even though we're starting to evolve a little bit on the drug policy, there's still a long way to go because that Schedule 1 designation should have never been there in the first place. I mean, the drug war was one of the best pieces of propaganda ever in this country, and then the campaign worked. I mean, and we acknowledge that it was as bogus as it was. Like, we watch Reefer Madness now, and we realize it was a propaganda film, but still, we base our drug policy on it. Like, yeah, this is a propaganda film. Isn't it funny? Yeah, so maybe pot shouldn't be a Class A drug anymore. I don't know about that. Seriously? It's based off this stuff that we know is bullshit. Yeah, but okay. All right, so let's get into the article. A judge weighing whether pot should be considered a dangerous drug under federal law seems sympathetic to medical marijuana advocates during a hearing on Wednesday. Manhattan federal judge Elvin Hellerstein heard arguments for a July 2017 lawsuit in which several medical marijuana users sued the federal government. Under federal law, cannabis is classified as a Schedule I drug, meaning it's considered so dangerous that doctors can't legally prescribe it for medicine use. Well, 30 states have reportedly greenlighting pot use in some way. Users and vendors could still get charged under federal law, regardless of whether it's medical or recreational, the suit states. Hence why we need to get rid of that designation. Cody points out that his tribe is moving forward without federal government and building a grow up. That's pretty cool. The civil complaint is pushing for the present classification of cannabis as a Schedule I substance to be ruled illegal. Some of the plaintiffs include Alexis Bortle, a 12-year-old girl with epilepsy. I heard about her. Her seizures started when she started her seizures stopped when she started cannabis treatments. We did a story on that here. Another 7-year-old, Jagger Cote, has Lay's disease, which typically kills children by the age of 4. But since he started taking THC concentrated medical marijuana, he has stopped screaming in pain, has been able to interact with his parents, and has prolonged his life by more than 2 years. Your clients are living proof of the medical effectiveness of marijuana, DC points out. It could be recognized to have some medical use if the law changed, Dollinger said. So it's time to change the law. So on one end, you have evidence. So, I mean, look at how ridiculous this is. And I know in some ways I'm really preaching to the choir here, but just look at how ridiculous this is. On one end, you have all this evidence and all these lives that medical marijuana has made better, and all this mounting scientific evidence. And on the other end, you have literal propaganda movies from like the 30s. How come we still say marijuana, not cannabis? Do you want the short answer or the long answer? I think we say medical marijuana because it's just easier to say and because it sounds more kind of proper and official. Marijuana itself is a term that has racist undertones, actually. I try not to say medical marijuana. Or marijuana. I'll say medical marijuana because that's kind of taken on a tone of its own. And medical marijuana, I think, sounds more prim and proper. And it's the type of verbiage that kind of helps in converting some people to its benefits. I do believe that to be true. However, marijuana itself has some racist undertones. Now, of course, people, usually don't remember that. So it's not like when somebody says the word marijuana, they have bad intentions. I mean, I would say 99% of the time that's not the case. However, I try to just say pot myself. Like I try to just say pot just because I don't want, I don't want anti-pot advocates to dictate my language. However, I think medical marijuana, I think it helps for the cause overall. Does that make sense? That's how I feel. I could be totally wrong. That's just how I feel. So on one end, you have all this evidence. On the other end, you have a propaganda film, and they're like, well, we need to do more. We're not. So the judge told the feds to stop saying it's not medicine. Do I think Bernie will be nominated in 2020? I have a feeling he's going to run, and we'll see what happens. They showed me Reefer Madness. Pat says they showed me Reefer Madness in 8th grade before I graduated onto high school back in 1964. We laughed even then. Amen. All right. This is from Seth. This is another article. I'll go ahead and give you a Get Your News On with Ron retweet. But Trump threatens to veto the bipartisan immigration deal unless it meets his demands on curbing family-based immigration. So basically, unless it's less than what the public wants, he's going to veto it. And he'll be able to blame both groups because of the way the Democrats have caved thus far. Here's something from Too Alt Left for You. Let's see what this is about. Give it a Get Your News On with Ron retweet. Jennifer points out smoking pot leads to side effects like going to sleep while watching Netflix. It's true, actually. Got to go back to work. Looking forward to watching it after work. Kate, have fun at work. Be safe out there. Have a wonderful Thursday. So this is from Politico. Sponsor an immigrant yourself. No, really, a new kind of visa would let individual Americans, instead of corporations, reap the economic benefits of migration. All right, I'm not sure I care for that. I'm not sure I care for that language. I'd like to think that if you were going to do something like this, you're doing it to help a person, not to reap the economic benefits. But I don't know exactly. I mean, I know this article is from Politico, but that's all I know. So this article was sent by a lefty Twitter user, so we'll see. All right, let's see what's going on here. Oh, okay, here we go. This is interesting. Here's the editor's note. This article, and particularly its original headline. Okay, here, check this out, guys. Here's the original headline of this article. What if you could get your own immigrant? That was the original headline of this article. Was offensive to many readers. No shit. Who thought that one through? Or didn't think that one through, rather. We changed the headline on Tuesday night to better reflect the author's intent and asked them to respond to the criticism, but they declined. Okay, well, here's the deal. The author changed... So this author changed the verbiage of their article. Their original headline was, what if you could get your own immigrant? And they didn't realize how freaking tone deaf that was. So then they changed it to, what if you could reap the economic benefits of migration? So these authors seem like they're very culturally sensitive, clearly, and they actually give a shit about other people. That really comes across here so far. The raw emotions, here's the article. I'm not quite sure why this article was sent to me thus far, but, you know, let's move on. Let's keep moving. Let's give it a chance. See what's going on here. The raw emotions, and sometimes people send me articles because it's bullshit. Like, they're like, check out this bullshit article, and then we have a fun time dissecting it and talking about how it's bullshit. I don't know. This user did not point out that that was their intention. They didn't say that. So I don't know if that was their intention or not. All right. Well, so let's keep reading this. The raw emotions generated by immigration policy, provoked by heart-rending stories of families torn apart by deportation or citizens murdered by illegal immigrants. Okay, yeah, this is... I think the tone's coming clear here, have scrambled political allegiances and confused public debate. Republicans, usually the champions of family values and small government, now want to restrict family reunification and give bureaucrats the power to screen people who want to enter the country. Democrats, traditionally the allies of the working class, want big business to select immigrants and have given scant attention to the legitimate interest of working class natives. All right, so this person has a very... So this article's terrible. I'll say that. So the problem with immigration is that it's confused people's political alliances. Republicans are usually about small governments. You'd think they'd be hands off about this, even though our president just got elected largely because of his message of we're going to get people out of here. I mean that was a big part of his message. He had a very heavy anti-immigrant message. And some people like it. A lot of people don't. Not everybody voted for Trump for that reason, no, but a lot did. A lot of people did. And you're going to say this is atypical of Republicans. And Democrats, traditionally the allies of the working class, except for the past 40 years. Except for the past 40 years, that was the case. Want big business to select immigrants. No, I think it's a lot more complicated than that. This person has a very elementary assessment of what's going on with immigration. And they see it as an economic benefit if you sponsor somebody yourself. Not you're helping out another human being. You might get an economic benefit. I don't know much about Eric Poston or Glenn Wheel, but if this article's any indication, wow. The only way to end this politically charged debate, again, that's the main problem here. The main problem is we're having a political debate. And it gets hard and it hurts our brain. It's not that families are being torn apart. It's not that people's lives are being ruined. It's that, this debate is rough. This debate's making my brain hurt. And I wrote an article with a totally tone-deaf headline. And I had to change it so we made it slightly less tone-deaf. We went from, what if you could have your own immigrant, to there's economic benefits to having a migrant investment. Wow, that's way to go. This article's terrible, and I hope the person that sent it to me did so ironically. I feel like I retweeted it because it's a Get Your News On with Ron retweet. I hope people know that when I retweet it, I don't retweet it because I like or dislike the article. I retweet it for the purpose of the stream. I hope people realize that. And I know that some people don't, because I've gotten criticized for certain things that I've retweeted before, and I've had to explain to people. I'm like, no, it's my stream. I do it for the people on the stream. That's how we do, All right. So Marcus points out this might be the next CNN employee. Gloomy Goblin points out it might be to shock and grab attention. I don't think the writers of this article were trying to shock and grab attention. I think they are that tone deaf and that blinded by their own privilege. All right, so here we go. Let's do a little more of this before we all throw up in our mouths. The problem posed by migration is that the benefits are not evenly distributed. That's the problem. According to this, it's the benefits are not evenly distributed. These people only see through the eyes of white privilege. That's it. The problems are not that lives are being ruined, that people's lives are being used as political pawns by the establishment on both ends. That's not the problem. The problem is the benefits aren't evenly distributed to who? White people. How can you write this and sleep at night? What a gross person. I need to point that out that here, hold on. I need to respond to my own retweet. All right, just so people see the disclaimer. But thank you for sharing this article. All right. So the benefits aren't evenly distributed. They flow to the migrants themselves and the corporations that hire them. Oh, good. The corporations are winning. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. I'd be really fucking worried. Consumers do receive better products and lower prices. Oh, good. We receive lower prices. On what? We don't fucking know, because this article's full of shit. They're making this shit up as they go. Wow. And these people, unbelievable. Unbelievable. This article was published by an outlet that is supposed to have some credibility. Politico is supposed to have credibility. Kimmy, I have not seen your article. Can you resend it to me? Tweet it at me again. So immigration expands the economic pie, but gives too meager a slice to ordinary people. Oh, yes, ordinary people. Ordinary people are losing out. What do you mean by ordinary people? White people. White people. We're not getting enough benefits of ruining brown people's lives for no reason. We're not getting enough benefits from it. We should continue to do it. But if only we got more benefits from it, maybe we'd let some brown people stay here. That is what this article is saying. That is literally in more flowery language what this gross, racist, tone-deaf article is saying. And these people are allowed to write for freaking Politico. And it took two of them. It took two of them. Two human beings that are capable of writing shit like this. They're not incompetent people. Wow. Saki says, let's see how it plays out. Said by a war criminal. Amen. All right. I think we get the gist of this gross article. Thank you for sharing it. I do like it when you guys share gross articles intentionally. But let me know that just so I know, just so I can be prepared. Although sometimes it's probably more fun when I'm not prepared. So I get it. Yeah. And I think the person just contacted me in the chat. You didn't get me in trouble. No, not at all. I just wanted to make sure. I wanted people to make sure. I thought it was so fucked up we should talk about it. You're right. You're 100% right. It is so fucked up that we should talk about it. It's a great article. I just put that tweet there underneath because some people that don't know what this stream is and don't know what we're doing here, they might get confused and think I'm endorsing something that I'm not endorsing. It has happened before. Not often. It's happened like once or twice. But, you know, for anybody that doesn't know what Get Your News On With Ron is, that gives them some context. And maybe they'll check it out. You know what I mean? But no, you have nothing to apologize for. Mars, thank you so much for sharing that article. I got a kick out of it. It made me laugh. I hope it made some of you guys laugh too. Cannabis isn't born as a racist. That racism is taught. Very true. Derek asks, Ron, there's a rumor that you are too sexy for your shirt. True or false? It's not for me to decide, Derek. I cannot be, I cannot say one way or the other. That's for you guys to decide. You guys executive produce this show. You guys also decide if I'm too sexy for my shirt or not. Adrian asks, why did the nurses union and the SEUI endorse Kevin De Leon? Oh, God, I don't know. I wish I knew. Gillibrand backs Booker's bill to legalize marijuana. That's good. Hopefully it's not just lip service. It likely is. Let's see here. Guys, if you have not sent an article, please refrain from doing so. We still have a lot to get through and not a lot of time. And I do need to end promptly at 11 today, unfortunately. Yeah. Let's see here. It's a political calculation on the part of the nurses. Probably. Joe points out it's probably a political calculation on the part of the nurses. There are some progressives that are getting behind De Leon because they think he's the only chance to beat Feinstein. And right now, I guess I'll use this to make a little transitionary plug here. Pat Harris will be on the show tomorrow. We're going to be talking to Pat Harris. Who is Pat Harris? He is one of three progressives running against Feinstein for Senate. Right now, we have three progressives, Alison Hartson, David Hildebrand, and Pat Harris. As you guys heard me talk about with David Hildebrand, if all three of those progressives run, we're in trouble because there's a good chance we ain't going to get any progressives in the runoff. So we got to figure something out here because if all three of them run, we're fucked. And it will come down to De Leon and Feinstein, or perhaps even, you know, it might be even worse than that. And I don't think I could vote for De Leon. I mean, I think he would work actively against the state. What if the runoff is between two progressives? I mean, I admire your optimism, but let's be real here, Sake. That's not going to happen. I think the primary is June 5th. Don't quote me on that, though. There's a bunch of primary dates going on right now, and I don't, off the top of my head, I don't have them all memorized, but the primary is coming up. Gillibrand has been impressing me more lately. Take wins when you can. Kevin is the worst. Yeah, of course Kevin De Leon's the worst. Well, Feinstein's the worst, but yeah, I mean Kevin's a close second. He's pretty bad. And let's see here. Gillibrand has been impressing me more lately. Take wins when you can. You know, we talked about this some yesterday. It's really cool that the 2020 hopefuls are all not taking corporate money now. Don't be fooled. Still have your guard up. Again, we'd rather have Joe points out, Joe did confirm the date for us. The California primary is June 5th. So June 5th is the big date. And yeah, I mean, if all three of those progressives run, we're in trouble. And I talked to David Hildebrand about it. I'm going to talk to Pat Harris about it. I hope to talk to Allison Hartson about it. And I want to have Kevin De Leon on this show as well. I want to have him on. I want to have Anthony Rendon on. I know everybody that watched the show yesterday, you'll probably be shocked to hear this. He has not called me. He has not called me. So let's see here. So anyway, to finish off that thought, it's good that this is happening because they know where public opinion is, but don't be fooled by it. That's pretty much, and me and Graham Elwood talked about this yesterday. I talked about it on the show here yesterday too. It's kind of like one of those, you know, all of a sudden punk rock is popular, so a bunch of corporate labels start creating punk bands in an office. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. There's a big difference between Bad Religion and American Hi-Fi. All right. In this situation, Bernie Sanders is Bad Religion, Cory Booker or Kirsten Gillibrand, they're all American Hi-Fi. All right. I made that analogy on Graham Elwood's show yesterday. He got a kick out of it. I hope you guys get a kick out of it too. So yeah. Rendon is shivering like a chihuahua. I hope so. Chihuahua. Excuse me. Chihuahua. I said chihuahua because I'm like not thinking. My mouth is going before my brain. Chihuahua. I walk my chihuahua every day. Let's see. Somebody did respond. By the way, guys, somebody did respond to the tweet where they were like, "What the fuck" about the article. So I'm glad I threw that disclaimer in there. Now they see my fucking disclaimer, so they get it. But I'm glad I did that. Some people are like, "What the fuck is with this article? You've got to be shitting me." We should tweet that. We should tweet that article at them. Let's see here. The writers, I mean. Tweet it to the writers and be like, "Hey, everybody on my stream hated your article because it's terrible and you're a tone deaf. Why do you, like, if you're that like ridiculous, what makes you think you should give your thoughts to people? You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying I'm any better or worse than anyone else, but like if you're that, I don't know. I guess nobody thinks they're in a bubble, right? This is from Pasta. Oregon House okays healthcare as a right. Crazy. We might catch up to the rest of the world. The rest of the industrialized world. Oregon's legislature took a step on Tuesday towards enshrining the right to healthcare in the state constitution, a move that will be unprecedented in the United States, but raises serious funding questions. The House of Representatives' 35-25 endorsement of the bill sends it to the state Senate, whose approval would put the proposed constitutional amendment on the ballot for Oregon voters in the November election. If the Senate passes the bill, voters would be asked to consider amending the state's 160-year-old constitution to declare it is an obligation of the state to ensure that every resident of Oregon has access to cost-effective, medically appropriate, and affordable health care as a fundamental right. Okay, so what policy will follow? Is it single payer? Because otherwise, these are just words on a piece of paper, right? Oregon is one of the most liberal U.S. states and was the first sanctuary state protecting immigrants. State also expanded coverage on abortions and other reproductive services, regardless of income. In California, a single-payer plan supported by some Democrats was spiked last year by other Democrats, a.k.a. Anthony Rendon, because the cost would have been astronomical. That's not even entirely true. They always, Chromatic Tree points out, they always mention the funding problems before anything else. Here's what's interesting here in the state of California. If you just look at it from a governmental budget standpoint, does it seem very expensive? Yes, it does. However, if you look at it from the frame of our GDP, it saves us money. California, sixth largest economy in the world, by the way, we spend 70% of our GDP, 17, on healthcare costs right now. That's what we spend right now. And it leaves a bunch of people out in the cold. Thousands of people die a year through lack of adequate healthcare. With a single-payer plan where everybody would be covered, it would cost us 14% of our GDP. So it's like the equivalent of saying, hey, we got this new car. It's a great car. It's a better car than what you have now. And the car payment's $200 a month. And they look at that and they look at their other monthly bills and they go, holy shit, I can't afford another $200 a month. That's a ton of money. Yeah, but you have a car now, right? Yeah, I have a car now. What's your car payment now? $300 a month. Okay, so that $300 a month, you're not paying that anymore. So you're going to pay less than what you do now. You guys know, like that's literally what's going on. They're looking at it as if the system that we have now would still exist. And they're like, we can't afford that. Yeah, but that 70%, that goes away. It's replaced by 14%, which guess what? 17, fucking more than 14. I'm not a mathematician, but I know with 100% certainty, the number 14 is less than the number fucking 17. I've seen enough football games to know that's true. I've seen teams with 17 and teams with 14 at the end of a game. Guess what? The team with 17 won 100% of the time. Even in a New England Patriots game where they get all the fucking calls. If they have 14, the other team has 17, they lose the fucking game. Yeah. So this article, what they just said is not actually true. If I didn't have insurance, I wouldn't be here. The Democrat from Portland said I'd be dead. Yeah, because healthcare. So the bill is scheduled for a first reading in the Senate on Wednesday. A spokesman for Senate President Peter Courtney, a Democrat, declined to comment when asked if Courtney has a position on the bill. That's amazing. Do you believe healthcare is a right? Gee, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Are you kidding? In the richest country in the world. How is that even up? And this person's a Democrat. A Democrat. It's not. This proves we don't have a left-wing party in the United States. We don't. We have two right-wing parties. One is fringe right. One is center right. If a Democrat can't even say that healthcare is a right, guess what? That's not a progressive party. That's a right-wing party. Even conservatives in Canada, even the conservative party, I mean, they'll point that out. Ask anybody that has experience in Europe or Canada, or they'll be like, yeah, even our conservative parties are to the left of your supposed progressive party. And you know what? If that's where public opinion was in this country, well, then I guess we just have to accept that not many people feel this way. But that's not where public opinion is. So we don't have a two-party system that represents the people. We have a two-party system that represents corporate interests. You see how broken it is. All right, some stuff's going on in the chat. Let me get to that. Anyone who glorifies pot and do what they can to progress your agenda, glorify. Okay? But you know it is true that there are harmful effects to pot. Again, no one wants to take your pot away. Okay. I'm not sure what your point is, or if you have one. I'm not saying anyone wants to take my pot away. What we're talking about is the fact that there are medicinal benefits to medicinal marijuana. However, we still have this archaic drug policy that's based on a propaganda film that I don't even think you take seriously. So Hugh asks, harmful effects like what? George Johnson also asks, what are the harmful effects? So Demon, if you can tell us what these harmful effects are, let us know. I have done some dangerous things while on pot. I did this. One time I made the water too warm in the shower for a brief moment because I was standing in the shower and I thought the water had gotten cold, but it turns out I just wasn't standing under it. So for a brief moment, I said, ouch, and had to turn the water down. So yeah, pot's incredibly dangerous. I said, ow. And man, I think about that moment about 0 hours a day because it was a very ineffective thing on my life. After I turned the water down to an appropriate temperature, I giggled for a while and I had a snack. So I'm with you, Demon. Pot is very dangerous. It's very dangerous. All right. Marcus says, OMG, this is serious. Dem Socialist says, if you're against cannabis, you need to go hide under a rock. Derek says, weed makes Lady Doritos obsolete. You know, I still haven't seen the thing about that. I still don't know what that's in reference to. By the way, Kimmy, I still don't see your article. Yeah, tweet it at me. You could have died from laughter. All right, let's see here. We are almost... Oh, wait, no, I do have your article, Kimmy. All right, let's go to Kimmy's article, and then we are totally out of time. So we're going to end with Kimmy's article, and then we are out of time. I do need to end promptly at 11 today. In leaked chats, WikiLeaks discusses preference for GOP over Clinton, Russia, trolling, and feminists they don't like. Okay. On a Thursday afternoon in November 2015, a light snow was falling outside the windows of the Ecuadorian embassy in London, despite the relatively warm weather, and Julian Assange was inside, sitting at his computer. Okay. All right, so let's get straight to the chat. We believe it would be much better for GOP to win. Dems plus media plus liberals would then form a bloc to rein in their worst qualities. With Hillary in charge, GOP will be pushing for her worst qualities. Dem plus media plus neoliberals will be mute. She's a bright, well-connected, sadistic sociopath. I don't think they're saying that GOP's awesome. I think they're saying that Hillary Clinton's really freaking bad, and people would not be paying attention if she was president. And based on what happened with Barack Obama, I don't think that's an unfair assessment. I actually think that's pretty freaking accurate. Assange's thinking appeared to be rooted not in the ideological agreement with the right wing in the U.S., but in the tactical idea that a Republican president would face more resistance to an aggressive military posture than an interventionist President Hillary Clinton would. GOP will generate a lot of opposition, including through dumb moves. Hillary will do the same thing, but co-opt the liberal opposition and the GOP opposition. Hence, Hillary has greater freedom to start wars. I don't think that's inaccurate either, although I think any president is fine when it comes to the war machine. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter who sits in the White House. When it comes to the war machine is going to continue. It really doesn't matter who sits in the White House until we see true revolutionary change in this country. As far as the war machine goes, it doesn't matter that much who sits, and that's unfortunate that that's the case. Okay, so some people that are unable to see beyond bipartisan hackery will see this as WikiLeaks endorsing the GOP. But people that are capable of critical thinking that exceeds that of a tribal 6-year-old would be able to tell you that, no, they're just analyzing a horrible political situation that they're in and making a judgment call, which is what you do in politics. You're faced with two terrible choices. And you don't really want to see either one win. Well, what would be better in the long run? Think past one election cycle. And that's what WikiLeaks did. You might disagree with their conclusion. That's fine. You might agree with it. That's fine too. And if you're a bipartisan hack that can't see through, they're saying GOP good and Democrat bad, well, then I encourage you to like maybe take a critical thinking course. Like there's courses that help you think critically about events and unpack things in a way that is, you know, slightly more intellectually astute than you're with us or you're with the terrorists. And a lot of the Democrats these days, they sound like George Bush in 2001, which, by the way, a lot of them also praise George Bush now because we live in the United States of amnesia. But they sound like George Bush in 2001. You're with us or you're with the terrorists. Oh, well, you mentioned that the Democrats are looking terrible, so you must love the GOP. No. No. Did I go to college? Yeah, I went to Indiana University for my undergrad. I went to Duquesne for graduate school. Okay, so thank you for sharing this, Kimmy. I think we already knew WikiLeaks kind of felt this way, so this is nothing new. And so, yeah, I guess technically they're saying they have a preference for the GOP over Clinton. Yeah, technically. I mean, I'm not necessarily criticizing this article. I'm saying what other people have made out of this. They're like, oh, yeah, he loves the GOP. No, he doesn't. He's saying they're both bad, but he's saying that Hillary Clinton would do similar things and it would go unchecked. You know, whenever somebody tells me, well, net neutrality, like whenever I'm talking about net neutrality and somebody's just like, aren't you glad? Like, don't you wish Hillary Clinton was president now? I say no, because if Hillary Clinton was president, I mean, if you want to just talk net neutrality as the issue, if Hillary Clinton was president right now, we would lose net neutrality anyway, except all of the Democratic establishment, we'd have to listen to them explain to us why losing net neutrality isn't a big deal. But instead, because Trump's ugly face is on it, everybody's pro net neutrality. That's the difference. I'm sorry. That is the difference. Because you have people that can't think beyond the two-party dichotomy that's been spoon-fed to them. And because they can't think beyond that dichotomy, we have one party, and it's the money party. Most people have preferences for GOP over GOP light. Right. Marcus says true. So those are the actual words. And you know what? When you're going to look at headlines like that, now this particular article from The Intercept isn't necessarily unfair, but as a rule of thumb, you're going to see other headlines that says, oh, WikiLeaks loves the GOP and stuff like that. Go to the primary source. Go to the chat thread itself. Don't take some bullshit fluff clickbait headlines word for it. And that's what I want to leave you guys with. We are completely out of time. Unfortunately, we do need to stop now. Ron, aren't you trying to expand this show to 2 hours? Yes, I am. How could we help you with that? Well, you could become a patron. Patreon.com/Ron Placone. I have a pay what you can model. You can give any level you're comfortable with, and you get all the same stuff. What do you get? You get a podcast every week. You get a video or piece of writing every week. You also get free tickets to any of my shows when I'm playing in your town, or if you're in a town where I'm playing, tickets are free for you, no matter what, as long as it's my show. Also, I'm doing an album this year. You're going to get that album delivered to your inbox by email. Also, I'm going to do a book in 2019. That book in PDF format is going to be delivered to your inbox. You get all that and more. Patreon.com/Ron Placone. Also, we've been doing meetups all over the country. They've been really good thus far. We've done 3. They've all been successful. We've done one here in LA. We've done one in Pittsburgh. We've done one in Portland. And I got some tour dates coming up. Graham Elwood and I are going to be in Arizona. I'm also coming to Texas, Virginia, Illinois. All those dates are confirmed. For information on all dates, go to ronplacone.com. So, guys, thank you so much for being a part of this. I'll send you off with the theme song. Get your news on with Ron. Just want to know what's going on. We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Just want to know what's going on. Let's hope they don't start World War III. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your news on with Ron. Just want to know what's going on. Getting our news on today. Yeah.
with Ron. Thank you guys so much. Follow me on Twitter at Placone. Get Your News On With Ron is the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. Thank you guys so much for being part of this. We do this every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so I will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone, ronplacone.com. Find out when I'm coming to a city near you. A bunch of dates are being announced daily. Patreon.com/Ron Placone if you are so able. I love you all very much. I will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Until then, stay safe.